Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of the Where in the Park podcast. This is Amanda, and I'm joined by my husband, Kevin.
Hello, everyone.
And today we're not only recapping our experience at FanFest Night at Universal Studios Hollywood, but we're also going to take a brief look at the history behind some of those properties. So we'll recap our night chronologically and learn about how they got to Universal and then dive into our experience. We'll talk about what we ate and drank and how we would score each item, what we saw, what we enjoyed, and some of our thoughts for how they can do things a little bit better next time, and even some tips and tricks along the way. We'll have each section chapter marked, so if you want to jump ahead or jump around, you can totally do that. Just note that in order to talk about our experience, we have to have some spoilers. So we'll be showing some photos and videos that we took throughout the night. So just be mindful of that. And we highly encourage you to check us out on YouTube so you can see everything. And hello, we're here too. You can see us and you can see all of the fun photos and video that we took. This is just a portion. We have thousands of photos from throughout the night, but this is just a small sampling. And before we get started, we just want to remind you that the We're in the Park podcast is brought to you by we'reinthepark.com. That's us. We make unofficial, self-paced seek and find games that highlight the details in the theming of theme parks, including Universal Studios Hollywood. So we have two different games right now for the park. One is a mini game, which is 8 images, and one is a fuller We're in the Park game with 30 different images, as well as a digital mini game for Universal City Walk Hollywood. So lots to explore, and you can make your FanFest night a full day experience by having some seek and find fun while you're there. So check us out, we'reinthepark.com, and use code podcast10 to save 10% on your first adventure. All right, Kevin, where did we go first?
All right. So we actually rolled into the park around a quarter after 3 p.m. We live not too far away. It was a Friday, so I took off a little early from work and we headed straight over there. And luckily, Amanda checked on the app and was able to get a reservation for Toadstool Cafe at 4 p.m. So if you know the park over at their the Super Nintendo World, they have a restaurant there called Toadstool Cafe, and you have to have a reservation if you want to get in. And I had checked from home before we left, and there wasn't any availability until like 7 p.m. after the FanFest night started. So luckily, she checked again when we got in the park, so we were able to go over there. The plan before we got in there was to try their two new smoothies because they have a mango banana and a blueberry ube that they have revealed for this event for this year, and they're available to order before the event starts. Unfortunately, because of that, they sold out of the blueberry ube before I got to the register. After I ordered and went over to get a seat, I saw a tray going by with one of them on there, so I got there just a few minutes too late, apparently. But that's fine. We'll have a reason. We have a reason to go back, and that's all good. But the mango banana smoothie, though, I can say was very good. Amanda, what'd you think
Oh,
about it?
oh my gosh. So last year we had the apple melon and we were a little we were
We
hoping
were
for
a
more.
lot, yeah.
Yeah.
We were a lot
We're
disappointed with that one because
yeah,
that was the
yeah,
new one they revealed last year.
yeah. So I mean, we love mango and we love banana. So we were and we love blueberry and ube. So we were very excited about these new offerings, but I was a little hesitant because of how the apple melon
I
went.
mean, to be clear, I like apple and melon as well,
Yes, it
but
was
that
just a
combination
lot.
just was not. Yeah.
Yeah. But this mango banana was delightful. It was delightful. We, I think, scored it an 8 out of 10. All of our ratings are going to be out of 10, by the way. And I thought it was fantastic. It has a mango forward and a banana finish. And it has like all of them have whipped cream and a mint sprig. And it's just delightful. It's delightful.
I think the only reason why I lost a few points was because it felt like it needed a little something extra nowadays with these
Yeah.
drinks, especially when they cost as much as they do. I don't remember what this one was. It was probably like $12, $15, somewhere in that range. No alcohol in it, just so you know. It's just fruit, fruit and ice and blender
Yep.
pretty much. And it again tastes really good. It needed like I don't know like some kind of like they have like the fun little mango pieces or something they could have put in there to have a little more texture. They also didn't give me a boba straw. I saw other people had them, so I think maybe they just forgot when they handed me mine.
Or just a
But I
regular
do want
straw
to
in general.
but I do want to point out for anyone who's been to Toadstool Cafe before, sometimes when you order whatever, if even just one drink, you're gonna be sitting there for about a half an hour waiting for that drink to appear. But over here, I think it was like a good like 5 minute wait at the most. So
Yeah.
they were on their game on Friday. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think
That's
that also bumped up my score a little bit. I think I would probably have been a 7 if it wasn't for how fast it came. So I give it an 8, -2 for lacking a little bit in texture. But again, the flavor was good. And yeah, definitely recommend it if you're going to be over at the Toadstool Cafe on your FanFest night.
absolutely.
But again, I really highly recommend getting there early for this one and not spending your time during the actual event for Toadstool Cafe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so after that, again, it was still a good we actually got the early access, so our FanFest night started at 6 p.m. But again, this was 4 p.m., a little before 4 p.m. that we got this guy, so we still had 2 hours before the event started. So we went back up to the upper lot and try to figure out who else had some FanFest foods available before the event started. And over at the Cocina Mexicana, is that the name of that location? I didn't actually write it
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Cocina Mexicana. They have some Sailor Moon food, is what they were advertising. Specifically, they were I don't want to say they were pushing it, but they had on their screen the only entry for this was their Sailor Moon featured meal. And we were asked if we wanted to buy the pieces individually. I checked on the app later to see a mobile order to see what those prices would be for the individual items, and that wasn't available on mobile order. You only had to get this whole box. So I don't know the prices individually, but it's $29.99 for all three of their items, I guess. I say I guess because one of them is the Sailor Moon Bento that comes with four things. So I guess six things between the whole group here. I don't know. It's a little confusing, but if you're looking at the YouTube video, you can see the pictures of what we got. And yeah, the bento
Yeah.
box was interesting. Like I've been to Japan and I've had like a bento box on a bullet train, and I remember being disappointed with it there where it's served cold, and I understand that's what a bento box is traditionally. Um, the one here had a weird it was advertised as a sausage octopus. It was, what is it? This is right there. Octopus shaped sausage.
Yeah.
Um, but it arrived just as like a cold hot dog kind of cut from one side, and I don't know. It felt saltier than a normal hot dog, but it was still served cold, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
I think it did have some flavor because there was some like cheese or something that was on with the sausage, but I only had a couple of bites and I couldn't really eat it. That it was a little strange for me. Um, I get the concept though. The concept is nice. It just the execution was not ideal. Um,
yeah, I expect a
the
little more from it, but
Yeah. The spicy tuna, the onigiri, that one, I thought when I think spicy tuna, I think the spicy tuna that you would get at a sushi place or at a poke bowl or something like that. This was not spicy at all, and was more like tuna that you would find in a can than than tuna that you would find at a sushi place. So I didn't really eat this one either,
it's
because
like a
it
tuna
wasn't very.
sandwich in
Yeah,
rice instead of bread, and again, served chilled. Again, I believe this is the traditional way to serve it. We're just not
yes,
familiar with it, and it
right.
isn't our it isn't our cuppa. And on top
Yeah,
of that, they had some pickled cucumber, which was fine. As far as pickled cucumber goes, I've had worse. So that was good. And then there was a potato salad that just felt like a traditional American potato salad. So yeah,
which
that
I
was
don't
interesting.
eat. I don't eat
Yeah,
potato
Amanda's
salad.
not a fan of that.
So, so we gave this a 3 out of 10 for those reasons, which was
Presentation was
unfortunate.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
presentation was
box was
fine.
really cute. Those in had like the good Sailor Moon logo on it and
Hmm.
all that.
Yeah. Um, Then with that meal, we also had the Tuxedo Mask Cookie. So this is a black cookie sandwich cookie with rose raspberry almond filling, topped with a white mask cookie and candy pendant. So I was glad that this came with the meal because if we just got the bento box by itself, we would be very upset.
You had had nothing
um,
to eat. Yeah.
yeah, but the cookie was quite good. There's more rose than raspberry, which makes sense for Tuxedo Mask. That he throws the rose to announce like, "Hey, I'm here." So that makes sense. I thought it was really good. Not bad. You just need a knife. That the tip for this one, grab a knife. It's big enough to share. But our fork couldn't cut through the bottom cookie. So grab a knife.
Yeah.
What did you think?
Or just get ready to eat it like an actual sandwich. I think it's strong
Oh,
enough so
that's
that way
true.
you can like pick it up from the bottom and it won't just fall apart. Because the
Good
top
point.
cookie's very tender. So like you can bite into that one pretty easily, but the bottom one is just yeah. Again, I think they were just trying to make it where it doesn't fall apart when you pick it up. And
That's fair.
kudos for them for that.
Yeah.
If you're looking at the photo on our YouTube video, you can see the pink there tasted like rose, and then the darker red was the raspberry, kind of like a jam.
Yeah.
And again, I don't love raspberry flavored things, but raspberry actual like because they felt like this was raspberry jam made out of actual raspberry, so it was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
So I was able to eat this one, and it was pretty good. I had no real issues with it, other than it was a lot bigger than I think this picture is really. I think we should have taken a photo with our hand on it because it was like a good
It's good
uh
size.
yeah. Yeah, it was a good size. Which is again, that's not a complaint. It's just
Mm.
a heads up, I guess.
Yeah. So we
Um
gave this one a
yeah.
7 out of 10. I don't know if I said that already.
Oh no, that is perfect though. Yeah, I agree with us on that. We did good on our reading of this. I haven't really looked back on what we said yesterday. We gave it all like real time, writing it down. And anyway, the last item in this meal is the Moonlight Love Sparkle, which is a drink. It's a soda with some, again, it has the little mango stars on it, which I think would have been great for that Yoshi drink.
Hmm.
And I think we had this right after, like I'm saying, that's the whole reason why we're saying it in this order. And I think that is kind of what knocked down the other score a little bit for me, I guess. I don't know. I think it was more that brought this score up because I was like, hey, they have the thing I was talking about for the other one, and it's in this drink, and it was really good. It was again, it's a soda. It's not anything too like exciting, I guess, but the execution was good, and the cup was fun because it was actually themed, it had the moon on it, and yeah,
Hmm.
I like that about it.
Yeah. And this is also a non-alcoholic beverage. It's just dragon fruit syrup and Sprite with mango and dragon fruit toppings. Now, just a note across, just park wide, when you have something in your drink like the boba popping pearls or jellies like the star jellies, you will have a paper boba straw. So as you drink, that paper straw will naturally change shape and will make it harder to eat those things. So grab a spoon, grab an extra straw, do something. Just be prepared for that because that was a fun fishing expedition with
Yeah.
our
Also,
spoon.
throughout our experience yesterday, I don't know if it's always like this at Universal or not. It probably is. It's like a movie theater where they are very generous with their ice. So the
Yes.
cup is like filled with ice first, and then the soda and everything else goes in there on top of that.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to like, get your boba out of that guy, you're battling the ice with the straw that's falling apart. So that is kind of I mean, it's a fun game, I guess they give you to play. But it is definitely an odd one, but there it is.
There it is.
But yeah, so after we were done with that, it was getting closer to our 6 o'clock time, so we started to head back down to the lower lot. Just a heads up, right? If you're getting the early access, it's like I think $20 a person on top of your ticket if you're getting it. It makes it where instead of the fan fest starting at 7:30, it starts at 6 p.m., which is an hour and a half, and that sounds great, except for I don't know if they advertise it that well when you're getting that. They it only includes three things, right? There were
Right.
signs up. We actually asked a guy, one of the team members, that are like, "What's actually open during the early access?" And he actually knew. He told us very clearly. I thought maybe he was like undershooting it, but we found a sign later confirming it's the Dungeons and Dragons: Secrets of Waterdeep, the Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon, the Miracle Moon Palace Chapter Deluxe. That's the full name of that show, and the Jurassic World: A Journey Through the Eras. And that's the only fan fest items that are really included in that. If you want to do the Jurassic World the ride, that's also on the screen for some reason. I don't know if you can't do the other rides during this time period. I'm not really sure, but that's what's on the screen, letting you know that's what's going to be available. So we had made the choice to do the Jurassic World Journey Through the Eras because that was new for us. Like we did the Waterdeep one last year. So we're like, hey, let's just go straight over to this. We don't know how busy it's going to be throughout the night. And
Or
it was a
even
lot
what
of
it
fun.
was. We weren't even sure if there
Exactly.
was show or what. So,
That's very true. Because we had seen the like the props pop up a few months ago, I feels like maybe a month ago, over on the right side of the escalator right next to the mummy attraction, like where it's like the back of the line, if that makes sense.
mhm.
So we knew where we would be walking to, but we weren't sure what all would be involved with this. And yeah, so we got there and it's really cool. Don't get me wrong, don't misunderstand me. It's neat what they put together where you have characters from the original Jurassic Park movie, and then there was at least one handler while we were down there with a little baby velociraptor. I've since learned that that is baby Tango, and yeah, like it's cute, it's fun. I think they're trying to recapture the magic of if you were at FanFest last year over in the backlot for Back to the Future, they kind of had a similar setup of Back to the Future stuff, and then you had all these people in character from Back to the Future, where they were acting like they were from the film, talking to you as though they were those characters. And that's what you had here. And these actors were fantastic. I had no like none of them felt like you don't know your character. They felt like they were embodying these characters. And it was
Yeah.
fantastic. Their cadence was perfect. It was really um I don't know, what do you think, man? I feel like I'm doing all the talking here.
No, no, you're fine. No, so I know we're gonna get some hate mail, but I am not the biggest fan of the Jurassic Park movies. Okay.
Where do I
Ha-
send that letter?
uh,
Dear Amanda, how dare
no,
you?
no, no, no
Send.
hate mail, please.
Okay.
I don't really care for it. So, um, I wasn't sure what to expect. I've been on the rides, at the Universal parks. I appreciate the attention to detail, right? So I was going in with an open mind. I wasn't sure what to expect, if this was a show, if this was, what this was, but it was awesome. It was so great. Like you said, the actors were on point. Definitely the highlight. Just chatting with them, and especially the Jeff Goldblum guy. He you could tell studied his mannerisms, his cadence, everything. He was fantastic, and that was the first one of the first people that we saw. So shout out to him. My thing about this experience, though, was aside from the actors, there was a drum show that we did not go back and see. Because as you can see from our photos, we went during the day. That was our first thing that we did. But then we also went back at night to check it out at night, which I highly recommend because they have projections and things that you don't get to see during the day. But other than that, it just kind of felt like a museum of set pieces. No animatronic dinosaurs or anything like that. They did have some music playing, but I just wish there was a little bit more to do while you were there. Because besides the actors, it was maybe a 15-minute one and done kind of a thing, and then go back at night,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah, I think they're hoping that people would go there and just hang out for the whole night like they did over at Back to the Future. Because they had a food stand in there and everything. Like it was
Hmm.
kind of a weird setup and a merch area. Yeah, also thought it was interesting that it was like Journey Through the Eras, but like it was mostly the first Jurassic Park movie. They had props and they had little signs where the signs weren't really like designed for people wanting to know about the making of the movie. They were all about like matter of fact, this is what happens in the movie. Like it
Hmm.
just kind of like stated the facts from the movie, but not anything else like about like the back. I don't know, like there was no behind the scenes, I guess is what I'm saying.
Right.
It was just like, yeah, in the movie you had a T-Rex like this in the first movie. It's like, okay, yeah, that's true. Then the vehicle, like, it's like, yeah, this appeared in the Lost World. Okay, it flew in with a
Right.
helicopter. I'm like, okay, that's neat. And then they had the Spinosaurus from the third movie, and then you had like that gyrosphere from
Hmm.
Jurassic World, and that's about it as far as different movies. They had some Velociraptor things over there, and I think those were also just kind of like in the Jurassic Park franchise. You'll find these, you know. It wasn't like
Right.
this is from this specific movie. So I thought that was a little interesting. Um, yeah, yeah, I did mention to you yesterday where it's odd though because they actually filmed right there at Universal Studios, not far from where this is located. It's soundstage number 12. It's where they shot the visitor center scene from the movie. So if you're familiar with the movie, it has like at the beginning of the movie, at the end of the movie, you have the visitor center where you're walking up the big stairs and stuff, staircases. They could have recreated that scene in the soundstage that they actually filmed this in and had the actors over there. I think that would have been a much more interesting experience
Yeah.
than just, hey, we just cut some pieces out of the wall because this is the area that was literally wall, I think, like last year
Yeah.
that they cut out and they kind of shoehorned this over here. So I'm not really sure. But I do want to point out though, just for fun facts over here, 1993 is when the first Jurassic Park movie came out, just so everyone knows all that. But also that it's a Universal movie, but it's a partnership with Amblin, the company that Steven Spielberg owns, which Steven Spielberg is actually a big part of Universal Studios, the theme parks. Like he even like contributed to Epic Universe, the new park over in Orlando. But if you ever look at any of the merchandise for Jurassic Park, especially in Universal Studios, you'll notice it has the Amblin logo. That's the little ET with the bike and Elliot, I guess. So we have it on the screen where you can see like it's zoomed in. You got an arrow to it. That's why you have ET on all the Jurassic Park merchandise. It's because it's actually Amblin. It's Steven Spielberg. So yeah, just a fun fact.
Yeah. And to your point about having it in a soundstage, we were talking about it afterward of like maybe there's something currently filming in Soundstage 12. So that's why they couldn't. I mean, because there was no advertising for Jurassic Park. If you weren't actually in the park and saw this setup being built, you would not have known that. I mean, at least we didn't see anything that Jurassic Park was going to be part of FanFest. It was on some of the merch that had everything, all the different fandoms, but even the sign out front didn't have it. You know, like
Yeah.
it was left off of a lot. So I don't know. Maybe they were planning on doing something bigger and that just didn't work out logistically. But I think having something where you could control the environment, you could hide some of the dinos and make it. I mean, they've done tribute stores where they had photo ops and all of this interactive experience, and then you have something like this, where there's none of that. There's no photo op experience. There's no anything. And with the vehicles there, I was like, this was pulled from the section of the tram tour. The gyrosphere was right there. And that area is closed now, so you brought it down here. Like that's what it felt like. We have some props. We're just gonna put this in here, have some projections. But that said, we gave it 6.5 or 7 out of 10. Um,
Potential.
yeah, it has potential. Um, just I yeah, have it in a controlled environment where you can have the music and all of that.
Yeah.
So
I do want to point out though, also my notes over here. Soundstage 12, that location where they filmed the movie, they actually had during Halloween Horror Nights in 2024, they had a haunted house in there. They had the Universal Monsters Eternal Bloodlines in that location. We did it, and it was amazing to be in the
mhm,
room. But again, if they had it where you were in the room where where Jurassic Park was filmed and it was set to look like Jurassic Park, I think this would have been a 10 out of 10, no problem. But
absolutely.
as it is, it again a lot of fun, but I don't know if it ever really got busy either throughout the night. Like we didn't go back to it during like I guess the middle of the day when it would have been the busiest, but we did like take the escalators up and look down, and it didn't look like it was busy. So so to that point though. In retrospect, what we should have done first during that 6 o'clock hour was get in line for Dungeons and Dragons, the other attraction down on the lower lot that was open, because we ended up having to wait about, was it 45 minutes to an hour for that, or
It
how long
was
was that?
it, it was exactly an hour. We got in line at
Oh,
6:15 and we were up the ramp going to the door at 7:15.
which is,
Crazy.
which again, it's worth it. Don't get me wrong. This is a really cool
Yes.
thing that they built here. It's very similar to the one from last year. So if you were at FanFest last year and you want to do this again, awesome. If you missed last year and you like wish you had a chance to do it, good good news, you do, because it's there again. But there were a few differences or things I just didn't catch last year. I haven't watched the videos from last year to see how similar or different it was. But for me, I felt like I understood a lot better what was happening, and I felt like the actors this time were much better at kind of getting the audience involved, because yeah, they were like, they kind of broke us into four sections of like, this section are warriors, these ones are wizards, then you had clerics, and what was the other group, mages, I don't know.
Uh we had oh, I don't recall.
Right?
We
It's
were
not that
we were
important.
wizards. We were wizards. I
Yeah,
know that.
I know we were in the wizard section, that's all that really matters. We rocked it. um we really kept everyone
which
alive.
which
One
I
lady almost stayed in the shadow and killed us all, but
Yeah, she
luckily,
almost killed us all.
yeah.
No, I do remember that from the beginning, from last year. I mean, where they did break you off into sections, but the big thing that gave it extra stars for us was that they kept the groups small. Last year, it was fill it to capacity with each room. And so it was really hard to hear, really hard to follow the storyline for those who were not well versed in the Dungeons and Dragons world. And this time we had room to spread out, even though it was an hour wait, because we had those with the express passes and some VIPs come through and stuff. So it was a longer wait, but the capacity was smaller, so you could roam around a little bit more. You could see a lot more, and you could hear a lot more. So I think that's really what made it stand out to us more this time. Good.
Yeah. I mean, to be clear though, last year we only went on the very first day of FanFest. So I don't know if they fixed that before the event was over, or if they
Sure.
fixed that in between the first event and this event. But also it felt like their speakers got better too, because I know
Mm-hmm.
the sound was very muffled. And I remember the last time we were on it a year ago, I was like, I don't even know what they're saying, so I don't know if I'm in danger right now or what I should be doing. Whereas last night doing this, or I guess whatever, yesterday at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. doing this, it was really good. Like everything that they said was crystal clear.
Yeah.
I know we had issues where you could hear the other rooms a little too clearly last time. So, and this time I felt like they had more ambient music kind of focused from those other walls that were kind of like tuning out what they were saying over there so we can really focus on what the characters in your room were saying, which was a huge improvement that I felt from over from last year.
Yeah. I totally agree. And with that too, um, we were able to see more of the room. So I don't know if they've improved some of the lighting. But in that first room, um, I totally missed it the first time, but there's a table that's kind of dividing the room up in two, and it has different storytelling elements. It has who wizards are, who the clerics are, and like some scorecards and stuff. So you can get the feel of like, okay, this is a game, and now we've made it into a live action. So it helps with the storytelling elements of it. They had little figurines and characters on the table, and we have a picture of the bookshelf and just the attention to detail. Even if the lighting is dim, it feels lived in. It feels real. So shout out to the props department on all their hard work on that.
I also didn't notice the table with the game pieces last time. I think that was a great transition piece,
Yeah.
because last time I just kind of felt like we were thrown into this world where if you like, Amanda and I, we've never played D&D before, but we've
Mhm.
heard of it. So to have that transition of like, hey, we're going from the it's not really a board game, but like the game pieces essentially into it being part of your real world, it was a great transition piece. For
Yeah.
those of you who are like us and don't know a lot about Dungeons and Dragons. I did some research on it just to share with you guys. So apparently this game was actually invented in 1974, and as it was eventually bought by Hasbro in 1999, who also, by the way, owns Transformers, which kind of explains the location of this. If you're in the park, you have to go past Transformers to get to Dungeons and Dragons. So it's a whole little Hasbro mini land over there during this time of year. Um, as far as the attraction, it is called again Dungeons and Dragons Secrets of Waterdeep. And Waterdeep, though, was a location that was first introduced back in 1982 in a it was Dragon magazine number 62. Apparently, it wasn't even officially part of a published set until 1987 with the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Forgotten Realms, Waterdeep, and the North by Ed Greenwood. So yeah, so just fun little things that this has actually been around for what year are we now? That's almost 40 years ago. This actually over 40 years ago is when it was made, but before it became official it was 40 years ago next year.
Wow.
And that game set's actually the first mention of that big one-eyed character that you see on the screen. He's technically 11-eyed because he has those 10 things coming out of his head that are also eyes.
Oh,
His name is Xanathar with an X. And yeah, so he's a beholder, and beholders are known for being spherical, big creatures like that, that typically are 4.5 feet in diameter and float about 3 feet off the ground. I think this one's a little bit bigger just for dramatic effect, and I love that about it. And again, yeah, he has those 10 eye stalks coming out from the top of his head, and he has one large eye in the middle of his head slash body, whatever you want to call that. And he has a mouth that's full of fangs, according to the original storyline. So yeah. Yeah, and the one that you see here, just like last year, was created by the Jim Henson Creature Shop, which if you know your Muppets history, Jim Henson Creature Shop is kind of the like they don't own the Muppets anymore because they sold out to Disney, but they're still in the business of making puppets and making them really good. And that's what we have here. It's actually a puppet, not an animatronic. So there's a person behind this, and even if you're watching their video, you have a chest that has a bunch of teeth and tongue that comes out. That's also a Jim Henson puppet. So that means that there's a person controlling those. They're not being run by mechanics. It's all like levers and pulleys, probably stuff like that.
that's really cool. They look awesome. They really do.
They're gorgeous. Yeah.
And quick fun fact, this week is Jim Henson's birthday. So
There you go. Happy birthday, Jim Henson. R.I.P.
R.I.P. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Also,
so we gave this a 9 out of 10 because our guides were hilarious. The storytelling was on point. We were engaged the whole time. They were, saying, "Wizards, we need you. Do this," and it was just really great. So 9 out of 10. Kudos to everyone. And yeah, a lot of fun.
it was a really good time. Yeah. So after that was over, we made the very short walk over to Super Nintendo World.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So last year they had a scavenger hunt over there for Yoshi, and this year they did another one, and this one was different, where it was more word based than last year. You were trying to find different colored eggs. But then you had to wait in line for a person to give you a sticker for that egg. And then once you had them all, you would go over to the frozen section, which if you know the park, you have to go up some stairs and around the corner to get to that. Or I think there's an elevator that takes you there too if you don't do stairs.
Mhm.
Um, but you kind of have to know where it is in order to find it, or you have to go searching everywhere to find it. And you know us here at Warren the Park, we knew exactly where it was. But yeah, so we got the booklet, and I think I had them. I think I had answered all of them just like by looking at them without having to look around the buildings. Really, I think I like verified them all just to be like, that's what that says, right? Yes, you know. So we got the words that we had to find to tell them to get up into that area, and then once we were up there, we waited in a much shorter line than last year to have a photo op. And yeah, so we had a photo op this year. It was with Mario and the green Yoshi, which I think was fantastic because all again, if you're watching our YouTube video, you'll see that there were more colors introduced this year. I guess I should have started with last year there wasn't a Yoshi meet and greet at Super Nintendo World until FanFest when they revealed three Yoshis. You have the green Yoshi, the pink Yoshi, and the blue Yoshi. That's what they had last year. And so during FanFest, you could do the meet and greet with the green one down within the main section of Super Nintendo World. But if you finished the scavenger hunt, you waited on a line, and then you would randomly get to take a photo with either the pink one or the blue one. Whereas this year, it was the colored Yoshis were all throughout the land, scattered where all the photo ops are within the land. And then up at the top where you're waiting in line was just to have a green Yoshi and Mario. I think it was pretty consistent. I don't think
Mhm.
that changed throughout the night. Even when they went for a 5 minute break in
Little snack
quotes,
break. Snack break.
yeah, it still came back as the same characters. So I think that was a big improvement. Also, they had it where it was all kind of in the same room because we had an issue last year where they put the photo op in a weird, I don't know what that room is normally, or it's like a dead end of a room where there was also a walkway that you had to go past to get to it. So it was a weird crowd management issue that they had that made the line
Mhm.
go very slowly during that event. Whereas this one, you can see where you were in line, you can see it was coming up right then, and Mario showed up and you were able to take your photo. And yeah, it was a really good time.
Yeah. Definitely a huge improvement from last year for multiple reasons. One, the team members did not have to give out a sticker for every egg, so that helped. The booklet was really cute. So you got your headband, right? So right when you walked through the castle, Peach's castle, there are team members that say, "Hey, if you want to participate in our scavenger hunt and go to any of these tables." That were right over to the left. You got to choose which color headband that you wanted. So there's one for each color Yoshi. And then you got your booklet and a pencil. And so then you were able to, like Kevin said, answer all of those questions, which we have the some of the booklet pictures there. And so that process was very, very smooth. Um, Especially if you already know the answers, you don't have to go searching everywhere. But even if you did, because the Yoshis were towards the outer part of the land, there was plenty of room to walk around. Last year, you had a bunch of lines for those stickers, and so it was very crowded to get around. That was not the case this time, and you had proper line stanchions to meet the Yoshis. So, very, very much improved in that regard. And the line went very pretty quickly for Yoshi.
Yeah.
They were I mean, we got a number of photos too, but the photographer was very, very quick to take the pictures and let's move on to the next one. So yeah, definitely an improvement. So we gave this one a 7 out of 10 because it still felt like it was missing something. Kevin, what was your idea for them to plus this experience?
Well, they can make it a where in the park game instead of
They
no.
could.
I think
That's right.
I don't remember what did I say would make this much
Oh,
better.
you
Tell me.
said that
Oh yeah, that would have been good. Yeah.
the music should change to Yoshi's music, not just the music that they
The
have.
standard Super Nintendo World music. It was just the Mario music was playing the whole time, which is again,
That's great.
Yoshi is a
That's great.
Mario character, it's true, but Yoshi has had Yoshi games, so it made sense to play that music instead.
Mhm.
I know if you go on the Mario Kart ride, Bowser's whatever
Challenge.
challenge. There you go. I want to say journey. I knew it was wrong though. So if you go on the ride, the first part of it feels like you are in the world of Yoshi, which is taken from the Yoshi line that's for the actual Yoshi ride over in Japan and over at Epic Universe. So you have the music playing there, but you have other Yoshi music as well that's very specifically Yoshi that they could have taken over the land with. I think that would have been pretty great. Um, Talking about Yoshi, I wrote down some fun like little like background on him if you don't know your Yoshi history, just in case so you missed it, I guess. Yoshi was actually created for the game Super Mario World, which released in Japan in November of 1990, but it wouldn't come out in the United States until August of 1991. And that game actually had Yoshi in multiple colors. It wasn't just the green Yoshi, but that was the first one that you came across. So he's most commonly known as green, and that's the color that he was on the box. So a lot of people, when they think of Yoshi, they think of the green one, but he's been multicolored from the very beginning. Um, in that first game, Super Mario World, the different Yoshis with different colors actually had different abilities, which again you're not going to experience in the park. But just so you know, if you were playing as Mario riding the blue Yoshi and you ate a Koopa, that's the little like turtle guys from the game, you would grow wings and you'd be able to fly. If you were playing as a yellow Yoshi, you would take a Koopa in and then if you jumped and landed, it'd make a little shockwave and kill anything around you. And then if you're playing as the red one, you take in a Koopa. If you spit it out, it would be coming out as flames. So that's pretty fun, right? And again, like I said, last year they introduced the green, blue, and pink. This year they added yellow and purple. Um, just so you know, I did not mention pink and purple in that first game because they weren't in that game, but they did appear in Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. But they didn't have any special abilities in that game. All Yoshis were just Yoshis. So yeah, just a quick little like what is a Yoshi, I guess. So there you go.
So we're missing a red one. How come we haven't seen a red one yet?
Oh, I'm hoping that comes out in Fan Fest of 2027.
Let's go.
Can he actually shoot out fire? Watch out.
Watch out. All right. And then after that, we had then done all of the things down on the lower lot. So we decided to go across the way and go to the back lot and the Scooby-Doo experience. So this was so much fun, you guys. So last year, as Kevin mentioned, the back lot had the Back to the Future area. This year, it was Scooby Doo meets Universal Monsters Mystery on the back lot. So, oh my gosh. I love Scooby Doo. We love a good mystery. This was so much fun. Anytime you can be on the back lot, go. Go. It's going to be
Oh
fun.
yeah.
It's going to be a blast to be where the movies are made. So, with this, we stood in line. When we got there, it was no wait. We pretty much walked on to the tram. Um, right where you usually get your 3D glasses, they have the bin of the Mystery Inc. manual. It is a booklet of like 12, 15 pages, something like that, that gives you the the things that you need to solve the mystery. I really wish they would have given this booklet as you were getting in line so you can kind of thumb through it a little bit. Um, but that's okay. You have plenty of time to look through it. I just felt a little like, wait, I don't even know what we're doing yet. But that's okay. It's okay. The tram guide will kind of give you some backstory into what you're doing, why you're there. There is a new movie that's being filmed called Universal's Monsters, 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 and something has gone awry. There's a phantom director, and we need to figure out who this phantom director is. And there's 4 suspects, and we are to help Scooby Doo and the gang figure out the mystery. So cute, so much fun. I love this so much. Kevin, what were your thoughts?
I don't know. I loved it too. I mean, this is it takes some place over in the Little Europe area. So if you've done the tram
Yes.
tour before, um, they always point out like over to your left is where they filmed the TV show The Good Place, and you get to walk right by that during this. We actually did the VIP tour last year, I think, or the year before. I don't know. I've lost all track of time. Not, but there's one section of this where you're actually in an area where they filmed Pirates of the Caribbean, the very first, the Black Pearl. So yeah, so it's just very cool to have it where you have all of that going on. But then they've filmed so many things over here. I think Princess Diaries was down this road as well for one scene. Um, yeah, there's been countless movies, but there's also all these horror movies that the characters are from, where part of their sets were these backlots. So it's just so crazy that they let crowds of people walk through there. Granted, they had some good security there watching you. They weren't letting you just like go loose, but you're still walking by these buildings and yeah, but I love the lighting that they had going on where it felt like you were in a cartoon. So it wasn't just like you're in this area and then what, right? And the mystery was cute. The mystery was really cute where it felt like they were like, "Hey, how can we turn an escape room into an experience for hundreds of people at a time?" And
Yeah.
it's not an easy thing to do, but it actually kind of worked. there were times where we were like waiting, I think, or people like to kind of get really close up to walls and not let anyone behind them see what is going on, where it's like just take a step back and all of us could see, guys. But that's humans being humans, and that's fine. But we eventually made it up and we were able to see stuff, and the actors were great. All the different characters from Scooby-Doo were there, full on 100% in their roles. And I know we've talked about like the monsters are great too. They had monsters kind of walking around where they had some light elements to their costumes, which were cool. Um, I think the Wolfman and Frankenstein didn't light up quite as well as Dracula and the Bride of Frankenstein, but
Right.
they were still fun. But the thing is that they didn't really affect the story at all. I think the story was that the director sent them there to distract you, maybe. Is that what they were there for? And they were doing a
Uh,
fine job of that.
That's true. They
Um,
were doing a fine job of that, because I thought the same thing that they had, as you can see here on the screen, each of the monsters had some role to play. They were walking around normally, like you see the Bride of Frankenstein with Fred, um, but then there would be segments where they had a few minutes of their own little show. So Frankenstein's monster, for example, is playing with different sound effects and lighting effects and having reactions to those. The Wolfman is doing something. I'm not really sure what he was doing.
I think it's Tai
Uh,
Chi.
his Tai Chi, right? Um,
Um,
with the projections there that didn't really fit what he was doing. And so I thought with these different things that, like you said, it was going to add to the story in some way, that it was going to reveal a clue that we needed or something like that. And it didn't do that at all. So I also thought when you think Scooby Doo cartoons and monsters, that like they're being chased or there's some scare element to it. And they were more like buddy buddy,
that's true.
like how you have the Bride of Frankenstein and Fred just like hanging out, having a conversation. Um, and then at the finale, they say, "Oh, like the monsters were trying to help us," but I'm like, "But did they?" I was
Yeah,
confused
I'm not
about that
sure.
part.
Yeah. I mean, I know that they're saying that throughout this fan fest, which is really cool, is that every week, I believe, it's going to be changing as far as the story goes.
Right.
So, I mean, we're not going to spoil like what we did to solve this in case you do
No.
go tomorrow or whenever we release this. I don't know if it's going to be the same thing by
Yeah.
the time you hear this or watch it, but we're not going to spoil it for you. But the thing is that there were different things you had to figure out as you went, and they weren't that challenging, but you did have to be in the right place to be able to like focus on something to be able to understand what you were solving next.
Right.
I think once we got past the first one and realized, oh, this is easier than I was thinking it was going to be. So we tried to like the very first section, like there was a lot going on, and it was easy to get distracted and think like this is going to be really hard until you realize, oh, it's just one clue at a time that I need to
Right.
know. That I can check off one person is not the Phantom
Yeah.
director.
Right.
Then I move on to the next step, and it's a lot more simple than you're probably gonna think originally, at least than we did. And yeah, so it's fine. But once you got the hang of it, it was actually a lot of fun. And yeah, it does make you kind of want to go back another night to see like what the next ones are gonna be like. So we'll see what happens. We might have another
Yeah.
episode before this series is over. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
I yeah, to that point, I totally agree because you can see on the map here where we entered, and where we were dropped off and what we saw first. So right off the bat, you have the cemetery right there, and we chose this angle to show you because it doesn't give anything away. But you have the projections on there with the Phantom Director in the back, and so you're like, wait, what is going on? They had projections everywhere on the buildings to again kind of make you feel like you're in this cartoon world. So that was really fun, but yeah, right off the bat, you're at the cemetery, and that's where your first uh, challenge is, if you will. You can do this in any order, which is nice. You can spend as much time down there as you want. But that was our first, like you said, it was kind of overwhelming of wait, what are we doing? What's going on? And then once we figured that out, took us a couple of minutes, but we figured out we're like, okay, yeah, we got this. Each character of the Scooby-Doo team has their own tent, which I thought was interesting. So we have pictured here, we have Velma's tent at the Video Village. And so there's going to be crowds of people at those tents to get another clue. And there's a lot at the tent that has it's just for decor. It's not essential to the story, but the characters are there. They're interacting with you. We saw some people have them sign their book, which is super cute, or just take pictures. Velma was at the wardrobe section, and so she had all these clothes, and there were some people asking her about different outfits and stuff. And so it's just a fun way to interact with the characters in a new way. So there's multiple reasons to come down here. And I showed the picture of the masks. That's at Velma, or that's at Daphne's booth, and totally unrelated to
Yeah.
the storyline, but those are Scooby Doo masks. Like those are from the cartoons. And when we had the video of Frankenstein's monster, there's another mask that he interacts with. And so it's like, if you know, you know, but if not, it's just part of the decor. So I thought that was really fun.
Yeah, they definitely went all out, and
Yeah.
it's very Scooby-Doo and a lot of fun. Talking about Scooby-Doo, I guess I'll take a step back here. Universal Monsters, if you guys don't know a lot about them, we actually covered a lot of the history of those guys in our last few episodes about Universal Studios Hollywood. You have
Yeah.
Jack Pierce and Carl Lemley Jr. and their involvement in getting these movies created and all that fun stuff. So if you want to learn more about them and you haven't listened to those episodes, go ahead and go back to those. They're really good listen. Scooby-Doo though,
Hmm.
I've kind of broken this down. What I'm about to read as not maybe not verbatim, but I'll go through some notes I have here that are more about Scooby-Doo in theme parks than just Scooby-Doo in general. Because again, we're in the park, right? So Scooby-Doo was actually created in 1969 for Hanna-Barbera Productions by neither Hanna nor Barbera. It was just a group that was working for them who created these characters. I guess at the time, like a lot of the cartoons were getting criticized for being too violent, so this was an alternative to violent cartoons. It was a mystery cartoon, right? That's the storyline. That's the reason why we're doing a mystery here on the backlot. Um, so yeah, so it actually premiered in September of that year, and that's where we met the Mystery Inc. crew. That includes Shaggy, Fred, Velma, and Daphne. In case you didn't know who they were, that's we've mentioned a few of them, but that's who they are. They are all part of the mystery crew that Scooby-Doo is on. Scooby-Doo, of course, is the big Great Dane. He is a dog, and he kind of talks in the cartoon sometimes, Rutro, but he does not talk in the parks. All right. Not long after that was created in 1969, he appeared in his first theme park in 1972 over at Kings Island, a theme park in Ohio. Now, the reason for that collaboration is pretty straightforward. 2 years before Scooby Doo was created, a company named Taft Broadcasting had actually purchased Hanna-Barbera. So, the same company that built Kings Island in 1972, like already owned Hanna-Barbera, and they kind of built that park with the plan to promote Hanna-Barbera characters. So, that's the reason why Scooby Doo made it into his first theme park, is because it was just corporate synergy. In 1974, that same company actually created a Scooby-Doo roller coaster for a preview for a new park they were building in Virginia named King's Dominion. And that park would open the next year in 1975, and it had Scooby-Doo represented. That company also would go on to buy Carowinds in early 1975, which is a park over on the border of North and South Carolina. Naturally, Scooby-Doo appeared in all of those parks because, again, it was just corporate synergy, right? Taft, though, would eventually sell those three theme parks to King's Entertainment Company, a company that was formed by the senior executives and general managers of Taft in 1984. So, 1984, you have it where they opened a Hanna-Barbera land theme park in Spring, Texas, but it only lasted for like 2 years. But Scooby-Doo was also in that park. So it was more for children. And again, it's in Spring, Texas in the 80s. And yeah, it wasn't the best plan, I guess, at the time. A few years later, though, in 1990, Universal gets in on the game. So this is the first time Universal's like, hey, let's bring Scooby-Doo into our park. But it wasn't just Scooby-Doo because they had all of Hanna-Barbera in a ride that was called The Fantastic World of Hanna-Barbera. And it had all the Hanna-Barbera characters. I'm not going to go into all of them now because who knows? There might be a future episode. But either way, it makes sense. Scooby-Doo was like, hey, let's go ahead and do this. Let's be part of this. But it feels like he wasn't really part of an exclusivity clause, which is very unique for theme parks because we live in this world where you have Marvel with its issues with different theme parks. If you listen to our episode all about Marvel at Islands of Adventure, you know they have the rights for it there, but not over here on the West Coast and all of that stuff. And you have all kinds of things like this. I don't need to go into all of that here. But the thing is that while that Hanna-Barbera ride with Scooby-Doo was at Universal Studios Florida, King's Entertainment actually sold their parks in 1992 to Paramount, but they kept the Scooby-Doo attractions in those rides. They had the character there, and they actually went on to build more rides. Um, let me see. Oh yeah, also in 1991, Turner Broadcasting actually acquired Hanna-Barbera, and then 1996 Time Warner bought out Turner, which is why Scooby-Doo is now considered a Warner Brothers property, not a Universal property. Which again, Universal does have several properties from other companies, including Warner Brothers, like Harry Potter, and I'm sure there's more. Oh yeah, you have Beetlejuice. Anyway, so it was during that time that it was owned by Paramount, though, that they put in some Scooby-Doo Haunted Mansion attractions, which were little like shooter rides that were created by a company named Sally. And they put the first one in Canada's Wonderland in 2000. So that was actually another theme park that was owned by Paramount at the time. And then it was followed by Carowinds and Kings Island and Kings Dominion over the next few years. And then what's odd though is that they even put in two of these rides in Six Flags parks at Six Flags Fiesta Texas and Six Flags St. Louis, which is why I'm bringing up the whole like they don't have an exclusivity clause with Scooby Doo, so I don't know where else he can pop up to be honest. Um, they do have over at Warner Brothers Movie World in Australia, there is a Scooby Doo Spooky coaster they put in 2002. And then that was also the same year they came out with the first live action movie for Scooby Doo, by the way. So
Hmm.
2002 was a huge year for Scooby Doo. For any of you that missed that year, I don't know how young you are as you're listening to this show. Um, but yeah, so the final version of that Haunted Mansion style ride though was actually put into a park in Spain called Parque Warner Madrid. That was in 2005, and that's today the only one of those rides that is still in operation with a Scooby Doo theme. So
Interesting.
it's kind of an interesting way that the world works with Scooby Doo. What were you
Wow.
gonna say?
Yeah, no, I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, so as far as Universal Studios Hollywood, again, that's what we're actually talking about. They actually first showed up at that park in 2007, about a year after Cedar Fair purchased that King's Entertainment company that was running the other parks there. Cedar Fair kind of got rid of the Scooby-Doo theme throughout all of their parks because they already had Snoopy, I guess is what they figured. So a lot of the stuff that was Scooby-Doo themed, they transferred over to a Peanuts theme for Snoopy. Um, yeah, so Scooby Doo showed up in 2007. Shaggy was added the following year, and then just gradually, as time went on, they've introduced all of the characters that are currently in the park, but they've only been there as a photo op. Like, there's been nothing else. There's been no attraction. There has been a show or anything. Um, it's just been the Mystery Machine, which is their big van that's all like decked out. Because again, the show's from the 60s, early 70s, and it has that feel to it. And it's always parked over by the Forsyth and Sons Antiquarian Books or the Harrison Memorial Hospital, which I would go into more detail now, but again, that's probably going to be a future episode, so just wait for it.
Yeah.
But if you want to know where that is, just head into the park and keep going forward until the road ends and you're at the at Starbucks, and then just hook a left, and then you're there. Like right
Yeah.
in front of you are these buildings, and sometimes the van is there, sometimes it's not. But if it is there, there's a chance that these characters will come out and they will meet and greet with you. They'll talk to you in full character, full zoinks and
Jinkies.
jinkies. Yeah. So yeah, that's the main part of how we end up getting them. So yeah, since 2007 though. So now here we are 19 years later where we finally have like an actual, I don't want to say attraction because it's not really an attraction, but it's an experience though,
Right.
with Scooby-Doo at a Universal Park, which is huge. And I hope that it goes well. I hope that it's going well. Maybe someday we'll get an actual attraction added to the parks.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, because this experience was a lot of fun. I know we had heard, we tried not to have spoilers before we go. Just we want to have an unbiased perspective. But we had heard from some others that they found this to be confusing and overwhelming, and just take your time through it. Remember, if you were there last year and you had the experience with the Back to the Future, where people were there for like hours because they were just taking in the ambiance. That's what you want to do here too. Like you don't have to be the full 3 hours, but like you can spend as much time as you want and roam around and like because we've had that backstory with the tour and everything, we're like, oh my gosh, that's where this scene was filmed. That this is where Jack Sparrow ran through those doors, and so it was cool to have that knowledge and that behind the scenes look while just being able to roam and experience that area while also solving a mystery. And oh, hey, check it out, Dracula just walked by. You know, it. So that was really really cool. And to know that the Universal monster movies were filmed right there also is just it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. They also have some food down there. We did not partake in any of the food because the line was so long. And we got in line for a brief moment because we were curious about the Scooby snacks. As we got in line, we were informed that they are out of Scooby snacks and it would be another hour before we got more boxes in. So we said, never mind. As you are ready to leave, you have two options. So, like, you'll have the Shaggy's table right there, and then there's two lines. There's one to go back to the tram, and then there's another line to see the finale. And that finale takes you kind of around a back corner. So if you are trying to solve the mystery, you're not going to overhear who it is. That would be sad. But they put on a performance, and it's just one group after another, and they repeat it. So if you're waiting for the next tram, you might hear a couple of iterations of the finale scene. But it was super cute. The whole gang comes out. They have a little show. It was maybe like what 5-10 minutes, if that.
Yeah, it
Um,
was very short.
yeah, super short. And then right from there, you got in line. Like there's nowhere else for you to go. Like and they announced that like once you get in one of these lines, you're done for the day. Like you have to get on the tram after you see the show. So so just know that don't get in line unless you're ready to head back up. And then they take you back to where you get normally dropped off after the normal tram tour, and you're back on at the park. So,
Yeah.
um, but we gave this an 8 out of 10. Um, very immersive, very fun. Um, Pro tip though, the last tram leaves at 11:45.
No. Was it 11:40? Okay, maybe. Yeah.
It said it
I thought
on
it was even
the
earlier than that. That sounds right though. I was thinking
Yeah, it was
10:45, but I think you're right.
11:45. That was on the schedule. Where it has like the wait times and stuff before you go down that escalator. And so just know that when you're planning the day, because the event goes on until 1:30. So you're like, oh, okay, I'll head down there last. No, you need to get there before 11:45.
How long did we spend down there?
We were there for over an hour. Um, Maybe an hour 15.
Yeah, so that makes sense. So
Yeah.
like if you do spend like an hour and a half, 2 hours on that experience, getting down there at 10:40 or 11:45, like you'd be done by the time the event's over. So yeah, we don't recommend saving it for last, but definitely go down there after the sun's down because a lot of the fun is the lighting effects on the walls and stuff and
Mhm.
the costumes with the lights on them. So I think you would miss a lot of that if you were there first thing while the sun was still up.
Yeah.
Granted, the event starts at 7:30, so it's not like you have a lot of sunlight time, but just enough.
All right. And then after that, we decided to go up to the front of the park to see the One Piece Grand Pirate Show. Let me pull up my slides again. So, over in Lamley Court, they have a
Moonlight.
little bar area. And so while we were waiting for everyone to go into the Waterworld Theater, we decided to get a beverage. So we got the Golden Mango Splash, which is Sun Cruiser Classic iced tea, coconut rum, mango puree, and lime juice, topped with mango boba, dried mango slice, and a pineapple leaf. So, Kevin, what were your thoughts on this beverage?
Oh, well, like I said earlier, all of the drinks at Universal are a cup full of ice and then your beverage. So the flavors were really good, but it did feel kind of watered down pretty quickly as far as a drink with rum in it. But I mean, it was good. It wasn't anything I would like I wouldn't like finish. I wouldn't not finish if that makes sense. Like I
Yeah.
wouldn't be like, this is fine. I'm gonna just like throw it away. But I wanted more of it, so I could use the cup with like half the ice and actually pour in the full beverage there. But it tasted really good. Like I have no complaints about the flavor.
Yeah, the flavor was good. But yeah, the it was mostly ice, and for 18, $19, you're like, really? But that's okay. It was still good. I like that they included the mango slice in there. I see in our picture that it was there. I thought we didn't get one. There was
It's
a
sunk
lady
as we
next to
walked.
us that had one. I was like, "What? We didn't get a mango slice, but we did. It was just buried in our ice cup." So, but yes, again, you have a paper straw and boba and mango slices. So make sure you have fun with your fishing expedition to try and get those out with your paper straw. But we ultimately gave it a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Again, if it was half the ice, I think it would have been a 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
Just with all that ice just turning into water right away, it's But
yeah,
again, it was good. Like no complaints as far as if you're just there for a drink with a good flavor, 100% go for it.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, so we took a few steps over to the theater to watch the show. Oh, hot tip: if you have one of the Universal credit cards, it works as an express pass, so you actually get to go to that side of the line instead of the longer line that loads in a little bit later. So yeah, so if you have one of those cards, make sure to bring it with you. Um, Yeah,
It,
so they told us not to take any photos or videos of the performance, which is why you're not seeing any on the screen right now. I took one photo before everything started, so that's what you're seeing there. It's just the Waterworld set with some fun lighting on it to make it feel like you're in a different place.
right.
What are you gonna say?
Um, other pro tips: you will not get wet at this experience like you would at the Waterworld show. So if you are used to that setup, it's the same theater, same water and everything. You're like, okay, I need to sit higher up because the first 10, 12 rows get soaked. That is not the case with this one. Nobody's getting wet. Even the ground is still dry. But also, pro tip: sit in the middle section, and if
If you
you can't
can,
sit
yeah.
in the middle section, don't sit closer to the middle section. So we sat off to the side, but closer to the middle. Bad idea. There are multiple scenes, pivotal moments that happen right at the edge of the water in the middle section that you can't see if you're off to the sides because the pillars are in the way. So it's that was kind of a bummer because we could hear fighting was happening and things were being said, but we're like, where is this coming from? Who is saying that? What is going on? And then like we try to peer around the pillar there. We're like, oh, they're right there. Cool. So
There were
that's
more scenes like that than I expected. I mean, there were
yeah,
a few where they came over to us, and I'm sure the people in the middle couldn't see it as well. It's just kind of the nature of this theater with those big pillars there that they sometimes fight off of. But yeah, it's just kind of a weird yeah, it's a weird way they did this. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um yeah. Yeah, it was a cute show though. Like it was fun.
Yeah.
Neither of us really have watched a lot of One Piece, so there was a lot of stuff that were probably went over our heads, a lot of jokes that we didn't really quite grasp. But yeah, it was still a cute show. It was fun to see a new show in that theater. Um,
I was surprised by the acrobatics of the show though.
yeah.
A lot of stunts that I mean with the Waterworld show it's a stunt show as well. But there were some new stunts that I didn't expect. The actors had some very impressive flips and kicks and uh you know one of the legs catches on fire and he's still doing kicks and stuff. And so like I was very surprised to see that even some crazy jet ski flying and stuff through the air where the guy like jumped off the jet ski, he's like pulled back. um
No, that's not a jet ski. It's like the Sea-Doo.
oh,
I
I'm
don't think there's any
sorry,
jet skis in the show.
not a jet ski, I apologize.
Unlike the Waterworld show, I was expecting it because they have like a very similar scene where the walls come down and the jet skis come out. And
Yeah.
I've seen multiple shows now in this theater where it's like the Waterworld theater, but it's a different show. Whether it's Slaughter World for Halloween Horror Nights or The Purge, I think those are the two I've seen for Halloween Horror Nights, where
Hmm.
it's kind of the same exact show as Waterworld, where it comes out and then they go around with a person on jet skis, and I'm like, guys, I've already seen this show. So when this one came out and they came out with jet skis, and then it was just like two guys on jet skis kind of doing a thing, I'm like, oh, it's not the same show. Cool. So yeah.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, that scene where he got pulled back off of the jet ski, like that was crazy. So
Yeah.
you got a lot of kind of superhero effects going on here in real time. So so that was really neat. Something that you don't normally see in there.
Yeah. So um what do you have as far as history of
All right. So for you guys like us who are a little unfamiliar with One Piece, it started as a manga over in Japan. It was part of what they considered the most popular manga magazine in the world, the Weekly Shonen Jump. And the first issue with One Piece was actually released on July 22nd of 1997, and it was published by Shueisha Inc., a company that's also famous for Naruto and Dragon Ball. And the first anime, that's manga is the magazine, it's like the book form, and then anime is the cartoon version. And that first aired on Japanese TV in October of 1999, but didn't make it stateside until September of 2004. But there have been over 1,000 episodes of this show. So it's a very popular, long-running show in Japan, and they've all been released here, I believe, as well. So you have a lot, the fan base for One Piece is real. Like it's very
yes.
strong. We saw that last year where all they had was like a meet and greet with the characters. So it was good to see that they were doing a show here. Um, but yeah, so there was also a live action version that premiered on Netflix in 2023, and season two actually just released last month on March 10th. And there's a third season currently in development. So it's a popular show that's currently still very much alive as a franchise, which is fantastic. Um, but like I said, like last year it was just meet and greets, and then this year that was the first time they were performing at the Waterworld um, theater here, which is interesting because they actually perform Waterworld during the normal operating day. So it's
Yeah.
not like they've converted the theater just for this show during FanFest. They have it where I can't remember. I think there was like a certain time where Waterworld stops during the day. It's like probably 4 hours before this first showing because this first show of this during FanFest is 8:30. At least it was for us on Friday night. I don't know if it's like that every day of the event. I assume it probably is. So it's a very short turnaround from Waterworld to One Piece. But what you should know about this, though, is that versions of the show have actually performed at the Waterworld Stunt Show over at Universal Studios Japan since 2007. So it's
Crazy.
actually not a brand new show. It's just new for us on this side of the world. Yeah, so it started in 2007, then it came back in 2010, and it's actually been operating there annually every year since then, only missing out on 2020 because of the pandemic.
Sure.
So yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. Yeah, no, I think we talked about this last year of like I had no idea what One Piece was,
Yeah.
but to see so many people cosplaying as a One Piece character, any of them. All of them were out.
Yeah.
It was incredible, and you see that with the merch too. That there is so much available in the different clothes and the keychains and all of that. So yeah, like you said, the fandom is strong, and it's like, wait, what are we missing? What's going on?
Right. But there's
So
over 1,000 episodes, so I don't want to start now. So
I
I don't know.
know, right?
We'll see how this goes. And it feels like
Yeah,
it's a long story too. I remember we tried to catch up last year. We watched some YouTube video that was like, "Hey, we're going to cram the entire history of One Piece into a half an hour or something, or maybe even longer." And it was like, "Nope, this is so much information. Like, there's no way I'm going to remember any of this. Like, I think you have to actually live through it to really get it." But
yeah.
again, it has a strong fandom and it's a cute show. Don't get me wrong, even if you don't know One Piece like we don't, it was still fun to go in there and see a show that is using a theater that we're very familiar with. Again, as far as our scoring for this, I know you haven't said it yet, right?
No, I was gonna get to that. Yeah,
All right, so the asterisks all over this, right, is
right.
if you've never seen a show in the Waterworld theater, so if you've never seen the Waterworld show specifically, you'd probably like this show better, is my guess. If you're a big fan of One Piece, I think you're going to love the show much better than we do. So, again, we're not going to have a 10 on this one because, again, we don't really get what's happening. But I think if you hadn't already experienced another stunt show in this theater and you were a big fan of One Piece, this would be a 10 out of 10 for you, no problem.
Right. So long as you were sitting in the middle and could see everything.
I think anywhere in the theater, as long as you're a fan of those two, if you have those two
Yeah.
things going for you, you would know you were missing. It's fine.
Yeah. But I thought it was great that it had like so many characters. It has all your main characters, Chopper's there, like it has everybody. It has some like little magic tricks because you have I don't recall what the clown's name is, but he's there. And so crazy antics ensue, obviously, and it's a lot of fun. Even if you don't know the characters, still go and experience it. So we gave it a 6 out of 10 just because we're not familiar with the fandom, but yeah, you would probably give it an 8 to a 10 in that range, as Kevin said. So definitely check it out. All right. Then after that, we're like, hey, we should probably eat something. So we went over to the Three Broomsticks because they had some things on the menu that last year it was part of their like multiple course dining thing. It was like a separate dining package that they had. And this year they made it a la carte. And so that was nice. So they had the curry chicken this year a la carte, and it's served with steamed rice, charred red onion, and yogurt drizzle. Doesn't look very good in the picture, not gonna lie.
No.
Um, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. We gave it a 6.5 out of 10 because it was more spice than flavor, but not spicy. It was like a spice that was,
Yeah, you could feel it, but it wasn't like
yeah,
overpowering, but
right,
like it just felt like it was all capsaicin and not a lot of actual like normally when you have because this is actually they labeled it as curry chicken, but then the description was chicken tikka masala,
right.
which if you had chicken tikka masala like, other places, you're kind of expecting a certain flavor to it that this was lacking.
Yeah,
I do have a fun fact though, as far as like why this is at the Three Broomsticks over here in the England area,
yeah.
is that chicken tikka masala was actually invented in Glasgow, Scotland, in the
Hmm.
1970s. It was actually a
That's
person. What's kind of funny is that different places say the guy was either Bengali or Pakistani, which are two opposite sides of India. So I don't really know where this guy was from, but he was running a restaurant, is what everyone agrees on, in Glasgow. And one of the stories is that a guy came in and was like, "Hey, I'd like to get your whatever he was ordering." And he's like, "Yeah, it's just kind of dry." So the chef like put some tomato spices together and put it on top of his chicken. And he was like, "Oh, this is amazing." He kept coming back for it and asking for it. So they eventually turned it into like a real dish. Is that the real story? I don't know, but I like it.
wow.
So either way, everyone agrees though that it started as far as this kind of tamed down version of a spicy dish from the India area into
Hmm.
this more United Kingdom British flavor profile of a chicken curry dish. started in Scotland. So yeah,
Oh,
so that's the reason I say it's not an Indian dish. It is a Scottish your United Kingdom dish, I guess.
there you go. Yeah. Like I said, it wasn't bad. It just I think like you said, like when we think of chicken tikka masala, we're thinking more Indian flavors. And so it just I like that they had the cream, the yogurt drizzle on top. I think the bites that we had with the drizzle were better than the bites without it. Um, but the
Sure.
spice, it was a slow build, but then it lingered for a bit. But then it went away pretty quickly. So, um, yeah. But I'm glad that we tried it.
Yeah, yeah. But
But
I did like the dessert better.
yes,
So
I did too.
yeah.
So we have
So yeah.
a tray of desserts here. They're all little mini desserts for this flight. There's a Victoria sponge, a Banafee tart, and a butter beer sticky toffee pudding. So, oh man, you guys, I'm glad that we saved this for near the end of the night. But you guys got to go get this. Go get it. Go get it. Go get it. Especially the Banafee tart. That was our
Yeah, hands
biggest
down.
biggest thing. It only gets an asterisk half point deduction because it's too small.
Right.
Other than that, it was perfect. It has real bananas. It has the dried banana on top. It had a crunch. It just it's perfection. Perfection.
Oh yeah, hands down. Like I mean, I don't even know why it's not something that's offered full size
I don't know.
here at this location. Maybe someday. The other ones that were good too. The Victoria Sponge was definitely the least good of the three. I don't know. It was just like a little too sweet for me and didn't have much going on as far as like variety. It was just kind of a I don't know. How do you describe the Victoria Sponge?
Well, I liked it better than you did. I thought it was light and refreshing. But I wish that it had the strawberries on top, like it showed in the photo, because I think
Yeah.
then you would have had some other texture in there, some freshness. But I agree. It was a little too sweet, but I don't mind sweet, especially because my mouth was a little on fire with the curry chicken. Hadn't tamed down yet, so um, I liked it. I gave it an 8. I know you had given it a 6 for the Victoria sponge. Um, but yeah. Yeah, I liked it, but it wasn't something that would be like, "Oh my gosh, I got to go get it again," you know?
Yeah, I wouldn't want a full size version of that one. That's for sure.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So I think the more I think about it, maybe I'm like more at a 5 or a 4, honestly. Like I feel
Oh,
like the texture wasn't quite like it was fine, but I think the flavor just like didn't do anything for it. It was just like just pure strawberry jam flavor throughout in my memory of this. And yeah, I just keep going back to the Banafee tart and just thinking I want
oh,
more of that.
for sure.
Sticky toffee pudding was kind of interesting where we don't know if it was overcooked or not, but it felt like it may have been.
Yeah.
I know I was joking. I don't know if you guys watch your Netflix shows, but there's a show called Is It Cake, right? Where they try to guess if things are cake or not, and they try to cut into it. And if you can't cut into it, it's not cake. I
Nope.
couldn't cut into this with a fork, at least. It's a plastic fork,
Yeah.
and it was just like, why is this so hard on top? And yeah, it was kind of weird. But I mean, once you got past that, the flavors were good. It's just the texture was a little off for me.
Yeah, it was definitely what is happening here? Why can't we cut this? So we had even with a knife, it was hard to cut. So I definitely think it was overbaked. But that being said, the flavors were there. Again, it's a butterscotch sticky toffee pudding, and then it has the little cookie on top with the three broomsticks logo. Um, the flavors were there and the center was still warm. I thought that was a big plus. It wasn't like, oh, this has been sitting out, it was still warm in the middle. But for me, it deducted points because I think it was overbaked a little bit. But it was still good. We gave it an 8 out of 10. But
Yeah, I think that's still fair. I think because the
yeah,
flavor was so good and the
yeah,
butter cre- the butter beer cream topping guy on it was really good too. Well, actually, because we've had a lot of butter beer, because again, it's It's
It's
Universal.
butterbeer season. It's
Right. You're
what
gonna try all
happens.
their butterbeer things. And I think this is one of the better butterbeer things, which is a fun thing just to say out loud. So yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's good.
very, very good. So, yes, Universal, if you're listening, we need a full size Banafee tart, please.
Yes.
Thank you.
Deliver straight to us. All
Straight
right.
to us. All right. So then after that, we walked over to the Forbidden Forest, search for the Hippogriff. So with that, you go to the entrance for Harry Potter. Like you go to the castle, right?
Yeah.
And where you would normally go into the castle for the ride, but then something weird happened where so many people were walking in the opposite direction in the same line we were in. And if you've been in that line, like that line is not very wide. Like you can't really stand side by side like that. So there was a bunch of people leaving the line. We were told by a team member that we were going in the right direction, which was good. But we were like, then why is everybody leaving? Like what is going on? Um but once we got there, we got in line. The end of the line was in the herbology building of the queue, and then you walk down like opposite where you would walk if you were going through the line. This is very confusing. I understand
Yeah.
this. So if you are in line for the actual Harry Potter attraction at the castle, you're walking through the queue in one direction, right? You're going opposite that way to get to the Forbidden Forest. So in your brain, like you see Dumbledore first, not last. Very confusing. Very confusing.
Yeah. I mean, I do want to point out that I think there was kind of a weird perfect storm of situation that happened to us is we got into the line. Everyone there was kind of like panicking, explaining to us, oh, hey, everyone, the ride is down right now. So I think the ride went down just before we got there because I had looked on the app
Uh,
before we walked over there and it said it was going to be a 30-minute wait. But by the time we got to the attraction, it said it was a 70-minute wait. So I think just something had happened where the ride went down, then everyone who was in line for the ride just kind of pivoted to get in line for this instead. And then other
mhm.
people were trying to get out of the line because they didn't want to do the Forbidden Forest. They were just there for the ride. Or it could be other people who got in line for the Forbidden Forest, but now saw how long the line had gotten. So they were getting out of it. So I think that's where the problem really happened as far as
Okay.
like the tornado of weirdness that happened to us. But yeah, so as you're walking, if you've been on the ride before, just as you get past herbology, you're walking into that hallway where straight ahead is the what is that? The bird, the lemon drop guy over
Dumbledore.
by
Like
his office,
he
right?
has the Phoenix. The yeah. And the
Yeah, so like
hippogriff
that big
guy.
guy. So you're walking
Yeah.
out that hallway to get to the beginning of this line. So it's like that's where you are. And like she said, it just takes a while to get through it, but it was fine because the experience is really fun. Yeah, she has the video going on right now. Again, if you have not done this already, it is a little bit of a spoiler. That is the ending of the ride with the hippogriff
The
spreading
experience.
his wings there. Um, I do have a note on this guy. Just fun fact: there's a Los Angeles Daily News article I found that explains that a hippogriff is actually he has a 20-foot wingspan, and it was designed by a company called Michael Curry Design. And if you've never heard of them before, they've actually been around for years. And they're the company that created the Transformers costumes. If you've been down on the lower lot and you have any of them, like they've done all of them. So you have Optimus Prime and Bumblebee and Megatron. Megatron?
Yeah.
Yeah. So all those costumes are all created by the same company that created this guy. Um, they also created all those life-size walk-around dinosaurs down on on the lower lot. That's all the same company, but they also made that baby Tingo puppet that was over in the Jurassic Park area. That was by them as well. But they haven't just done Universal. They also did all of the Lion King on Broadway costumes, as well as a bunch of jobs for Cirque du Soleil. Um,
Wow.
even like for anyone who watching or listening who's ever seen the show Caw over in Las Vegas, there's one scene where there's this big flying contraption in that show. They made that thing. So yeah, so they're good at making big puppet kind of items. For Disney, besides on Broadway. They also created the Maleficent Dragon, the float that's in the Festival of Fantasy Parade over the Magic Kingdom. It caught fire a few years ago, but it's been fine ever since. It has like a cool steampunk look to it. And on their website, they even had it where there's a float from California Adventure's their first parade, their Eureka parade from 2001. So again, they've been
Oh,
around for a long time. But this is the first I ever heard about them was for this guy right here. So it's good to know these fun companies. Yeah, it's Michael Curry Design.
nice. That's cool.
As
I
far as
wonder.
like Harry Potter, I don't know if I need to go into history about Harry Potter for you guys.
No, we
That'll
we
probably be its
talked.
own episode.
Yeah, we talked a lot about Harry Potter and the history and in our Hogsmeade episode. We're doing a coast to coast comparison of Hogsmeade on both sides. So we talked quite a bit about the history of Harry Potter and J.K. Rowling. So be sure to go back and take a listen to that one because that was a good one.
I did read a website that said that their contract for this for the Harry Potter Universal is likely going to be up in 2029. But
Ooh,
I'm pretty sure they're going to renew it. It'd be crazy if they don't. So because it was
yeah,
also up originally in 2019, then they renewed it for 10 years, which is what everyone's saying. So yeah, don't like we're going to lose a lot of Universal land. So fingers
yeah.
crossed.
Especially with all of the expansion and stuff happening in Epic Universe, no, that contract's getting extended for sure.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, back to the Forbidden Forest. Very cool concept. So this all takes place in the extended queue for Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. Like when it first opened, there was all that walkway that is behind the three broomsticks, and that's where this attraction, this experience is taking place. So that's why you have to go back through the line the way that you do, so that way you can get back there. And you are guided by a Hogwarts professor who takes you into the forest and you meet different creatures along the way and you perform different spells to continue on your journey and find the hippogriff that is lost and stuck and needs help. And so I wanted to show this final scene with the hippogriff just to show how impressive he is with his feathers and how he moves and everything. It's fantastic. But there are sections throughout. You have Cornish pixies. You have a scene with spiders. There's the centaur that we meet, who is fantastic. Really, really cool. We took quite a bit of video in here, but it is very dark.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to make out what is going on with the video. So just definitely check it out yourself if you are able, because it's really cool. Kevin, what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, talking about it being very dark, I definitely recommend that you do this when it is dark, though, because a lot
Yes.
of the special effects are light based. So if the sun's still up at all, I don't think it's going to be making as much sense. It's not going to be as much of a story because you can even see like the finale where it gets really bright and then the hippogriff appears, well, not appears, but gets freed, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, it's just there's multiple scenes like that where light effects kind of really tell the story. So yeah, you don't
Mm.
want to go there when the sun's still up. Wait
Right.
for it. Even if it ends up being a longer wait for you overall, it's worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Um, Yeah, the only real downside that well there were two downsides to it. One was that because you are in an existing line, the walkways are really narrow because it's not designed for an experience like this. It's designed to be an attraction queue. That and we were in a bigger group. I don't really know how many people there were, but because the walkways are so narrow, um, it was really hard to hear our professor at times because she has a microphone and a speaker pack on her. But depending on if she's leading the way into the next section of the forest, it would be a little hard to hear her from the back, for example. So I wish that they took more of the Dungeons and Dragons approach, where we're a smaller group that can then hear what's really going on. Um, but that being said, we knew the story. We got it from just the little bits that we were able to hear. I wasn't confused at any point. And I understand that they can't have any additional speakers or anything because then you'd be able to hear the other professors throughout the forest. So um, I get it. I get it. I think if the groups were a little smaller, then the experience would be a little bit better. What do you think?
Then you would have a longer line though, so
But
a longer wait in line. Yeah, I
that's
don't know. The
okay.
trade-off there is a little balance.
Yeah.
They need to figure it out. I'm sure that they will. Again, we were just there on the second night of this event. I guess the
Yeah.
third if you can count the preview. But yeah, again, really cool. I love what they put in here. I love this better than being just an empty queue not being used. 100%.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because this queue has been sitting there for a long time not being used. So the fact that they are putting it to use and they put all of the work into it to make it
Hmm.
happen, it's fantastic. So definitely go. I'm not knocking it at all. Go enjoy and experience it. The posted time, like Kevin said, was 70 minutes. We ended up waiting about 40. I think that it is really dependent on how many have the express pass or a VIP thing that's getting them to the front of the line. That's what happened with Dungeons and Dragons. It should have been 15, maybe 20 minutes, and it ended up being an hour because everybody was just getting in with the early entry and everything and heading straight down there, and some VIP buses. So just definitely keep that in mind. Always bring your patience and know that the experience, like the cast that they have for these events, are phenomenal. They are dedicated and they are putting in their best performance with every single show every few minutes. So it's quite impressive and yeah, it's awesome. So highly recommend. All
All right.
right.
So then after this, we hit up our last attraction that was even on the list, right? There wasn't anything else
Yeah.
that was available to see. So we went to the Sailor Moon area. This is the what's the full name for this pretty guardian Sailor Moon? The Miracles Moon or something?
It's the Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon The Miracle Moon Palace Chapter Deluxe.
That is the one name for this attraction.
That's
Um,
it.
yeah, so I mean, again, if you love Sailor Moon, I'm sure this is going to be one of your top things to see. Neither of us were really raised on this one. So, yeah.
So it is at the DreamWorks Theater. So let's start there. So this is where Kung Fu Panda is, during normal operating hours. And so we have a meet and greet right to the right of the entrance to the DreamWorks Theater. That some of the characters were out and about taking pictures. To the left is the concession booth and the Cocina Mexicana restaurant, right? So we already talked about that. So that's where we're at. So this is a theater show where there's a screen and the seats move to the show. Like Kevin said, we are not familiar with the fandom at all. And so, luckily, as with the Kung Fu Panda show, you have the pre show, which kind of sets up the story, which I really appreciate because otherwise, I don't know why we're here, what's going on, the whole thing. Everything is dubbed, like it has the translation, the English translation text
So
for
not
both the
dubbed.
yeah, for both the pre-show and the actual show. So that's helpful. But I mean, I thought the show was cute, but I was just confused as to what was going on. But that's how it was last year too, with the
Yeah,
with
the
the
last couple of years. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because again, they've also done anime over in this theater during Halloween Horror Nights as well.
Hmm.
Um, and so yeah, every time they've done this, it's been an anime show kind of transferred from Japan, from Universal Studios Japan specifically. And yeah, I mean it's fun. I like that they're using this theater for something unique. Again, very similar to the Waterworld Theater. It's good to see them reusing a theater for an event with something new. 100% support that. I love that. I'm glad that they are doing this. But as far as the show itself, I mean, it was cute. There were moments that were fun, but overall, it was just kind of like, what is this for?
Yeah.
But again, that's just us.
What?
That's again, if you love Sailor Moon, we're sorry that we're yucking your yum or whatever. Good for you. Good, go get it. You're gonna love the show. But for us, I don't know.
Yeah.
What did we rate this show? I don't remember what we
We
had
gave
it
it a 4 out of 10 only because one, we don't know the fandom, but two, it had just had some odd 3D effects without the 3D glasses. Like it
at.
had, the girls were flying around and it was very intentional. It should have been more of a 3D effect. Or the villain, I can't remember her name, but like she was, saying like, and you and you and you and pointing, but
And then
like,
and you, like pointing like
yeah,
where you would be right at your face in a 3D movie. But on this one, it's like off to the side. It's like that's not how that was supposed to go. That's not how they
yeah,
intended for that to work out. But that's fine.
right. So yeah, but again, I thought it was cute. I know we were talking after we saw the show that the last show that was played in this theater, it had Universal as part of the show, and
Plus
that
two shows. Yeah.
yeah, but that wasn't the case this time. So I think just having it tie back of hey, we're at Universal, or even if it's Universal Japan, just like give us something to tie it back of like why are why should we care kind of a thing. But I get it because no other thing does that, right? Like Scooby-Doo does. You have the tram tour guide telling you the importance of it being on the backlot right there. But other than that, no other fandom has that connection tied back to the park.
Yeah, they don't
But
need to break the fourth wall every time, I guess. But
I guess.
yeah. I think if they would have done it, I would have been disappointed to be honest. It would have been like,
Really?
again, we're doing that same joke, but I don't
Hmm.
know. Where they
I
break
don't
into
know.
the theater, and then all of a sudden you're in Universal Studios Japan, and I've
Right.
seen it before. Yeah, I don't know
True.
what it was I was needing for this, but again, it's just I don't follow the storyline, so I'm sure if I did, I would appreciate it more.
Yeah.
Talking about Sailor Moon, I do have a few things. I didn't write down a lot. This is a very short, brief history of it. For anyone who doesn't know what Sailor Moon is, and we said Sailor Moon like 1,000 times now. So it premiered in Japan as a manga, just like One Piece did. This was back in 1991, though, so it's a little older. And the anime series came out the beginning of 1992. So it was like the end of 1991 manga, beginning of 1992 anime. Again, that's the cartoon version. But it wasn't released here in the United States until September of 1995. So that's how long it's been over here, which is still now quite a while ago. I know a lot of people love Sailor Moon. I know I've had friends and family who are huge into it. So good for them. Again, I wasn't part of the target demo, so I don't feel bad about it. Um, the most recent Sailor Moon production was a two-part Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon Cosmos the movie that was released in 2023 and 2024, and you can find that exclusively on Netflix now. The funny name, like, because again, it was released here as Sailor Moon, I believe, but then it was eventually like translated to, what was it I read somewhere, Pretty Soldier Sailor Moon, but they
Hmm.
got retranslated to Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon, which is such a weird name, in my opinion, as far as like a name for a show like this. But I guess that's what they were going for. Just like hit the nail on the head. Um, as far as the show, like I said, it was originally from Universal Studios Japan. It actually premiered there as this full name of Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon, The Miracle Moon Palace, um, without the chapter deluxe back in 2019. So
Hmm.
they had it there for what they called the Cool Japan event. And then in 2022, they released it as this chapter deluxe version, where they added all the other Sailor Moon characters. I guess the original version didn't have all the characters represented. It was just Sailor Moon and like that Chibi Usa, whatever, the smaller Sailor Moon character. Uh,
Yeah.
um, so yeah, so that is where this is from. It was from a special event at Universal Studios Japan back in 2022, and here we are 4 years later, getting premiered here in Hollywood.
There you go. Well, I do remember when at the last fan fest that they had sent out a survey, and it was, which fandoms would you want to see, and Sailor Moon was on that list. So obviously there was a lot of people, and we saw a lot of people dressed up as well in their cosplay for Sailor Moon. So again, the fandom is there. We just are not followers of it, unfortunately. So um
Actually, I wanted to point that out. Like you had said, like they were meet and greets with like Sailor Moon characters. There was only Sailor Moon was the only actual Universal like employee dressed as a character there. But there were so many other people in Sailor Moon costumes that looked like legit, like
they
real
did.
costumes. It kind of blurred the line there. I'm like I don't know if that's actually allowed. We didn't scan the QR code for the cosplay rules because we weren't dressed up as anything.
Yeah.
But I'm like, man, that is really like at the end of the day, we walked by and there were like three different Sailor Moon characters taking a photo in the Sailor Moon section where they were doing photo ops. It wasn't until like we'd almost completely passed them that I realized, oh, like none of them are actually the paid Sailor Moon character. These are
Yeah.
all just fans in costume taking photos together. So yeah, no, it was pretty wild.
Yeah. Yeah, we were like, as we were walking past them, we're like, okay, which one is the paid
The
actor to,
real one, yeah.
yeah, to be part of the photo op? And then all three of them in the group that were taking the picture, all three of them walked out. And went to their like separate ways. And I was like, now wait a minute,
Yeah.
like, oh, there's no meet and greet happening right now. They're doing their own little meet and greet. That's pretty cool. We saw like the same thing was happening with the One Piece characters.
Yeah.
There were so many people in their cosplay outfits that they were having their own little meet and greet, like photo op kind of a things. And that's really that's what's really cool about these things is that you can just celebrate the fandoms that you want to celebrate, and so many other people are doing that exact same thing, and it forms a bond. It forms that connection. I love it. I'm so glad that they're doing this, and I hope that they're seeing the success from it and that they continue year after year, and it becomes like, the spring and summer's version of Halloween Horror Nights. So
Yeah.
so,
100%.
so that was our experience in terms of the Fan Fest night, but we did have two more things to bring up that we want to make sure that it's on your radar and you don't miss out. So, the first one is the Universal Backlot Club. I've seen these booths before at other Universal events. Um, and sometimes we remember to do some of them, and other times we're like, oh, shoot, we forgot. Kevin, what are these boxes?
Last year we found them, I think later in the day, and then I think we found like one. It's like, oh, wait, if you find all these, you get an actual physical prize. But by the time we realized it, like the event was over. So
Yeah.
we didn't get to actually experience that. So this time it was like we made an effort before the event started. We already had it where we were looking for these and they were up and running. So it's kind of like a scavenger hunt, except for you're just looking for these boxes, right? So it's just a blue box that says Backlot Club on top. And on the map, I don't know if the app actually has the map or not, but if you go to any of
Uh,
them, there's a QR code on it that you can scan that will take you to a website where you can like sign up for whatever this experience is. I don't even know how to. You can see it's like the website's actually called backlot.club.
yeah.
So it's not even universal.com or anything. But yeah, so
Yeah.
you go to that site and it takes you to a page where all the different little things they have across like Florida and Hollywood are there. So you make sure you choose the correct one. I was choosing the wrong one the first time and like none of the numbers were working. I wasn't sure why. But yeah, so make sure you choose the correct one. For this one, it's actually a Dungeons and Dragons themed event. So there's a Hollywood on there one that's coming that says preview or something or coming soon. That's not the correct one. It's the next page. It's the Dungeons and Dragons, which is really hard for me to say. Um, but yeah, so you go to these booths and they all have a number on the screen. They have a tap area, but I couldn't get it to work with my phone. Where if I tapped it, it vibrated like it was going to do something, but then nothing happened. But you just put in the 4-digit number when you're on that screen, and it's like Oh, good job. You collected a medallion. For this event, there's only three of them. Two are on
Yeah.
the upper lot, and then one is on the lower lot. And if you get all three of them entered, you get to that last screen that Amanda has on the screen here, where it says like um, the this is the Salgar's Revival Medallion, and this item includes a physical reward that must be picked up in person at the Universal Studios store by midnight on May 16th. So that's when this whole thing ends. I think it's the end of FanFest.
Mm-hmm.
So it's only available during FanFest hours too. So you can't just finish the game then go back during a normal operating day with like say your annual pass and go to pick up the item. You have to go during the actual hours of the event. So you have to be part of
Yeah.
the event. You have to have the wristband saying that you're part of the event. I guess we didn't bring that up. If you get to the park, or when you get to the park, you're going to go to a booth to get a wristband to actually partake in the FanFest event. So don't forget to go grab that. Otherwise, they will kick you out. But anyway, so because this was Dungeons and Dragons themed, the prize was this little it reminds me of those 3D printed little guys you can get at a lot of little
Yeah.
craft events.
I have a little dragon.
Yeah. So this is a goldfish that's supposed to be the goldfish from Dungeons and Dragons, the little baby of Xanathar or whatever. I'm not sure the full storyline is. Again, we don't know a lot about Dungeons and Dragons. We just appreciate the theme
Craft.
park experience. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, the medallion that's on the screen there, that was just one of the things that when we entered in the code, that was the medallion that popped up. So there's different things that digital things that you were collecting, and then this just happened to be the third one that then popped up saying like you found them all. Go to the the studio store to pick up your prize. So um the place to do that though is um the checkout that is across from the entrance to Hollywood and Dine. So, because the Universal Studio Store is huge, right? There's multiple sections of different fandoms and stuff. And so we first went to where pass holders would go pick up their pass holder magnet, right? The pass member magnets, or the other scavenger hunt stuff, or whatever they have throughout the year for fan appreciation nights, right? So we went to that register on the far end, like closest to the entrance. No, we're not going there. We're going to the other end of the Universal Studio Store by across the way from the Hollywood and Dine restaurant. In the back there's the big screen against the wall, the TV screen, and the register's there. It is at that register that you go and get your prize. So you just show them this screen that is up that says, that you get the prize. You then click got it when you go over there. And then they will give you this cute little fish or whatever the prize will be. I don't know. I can't
Yeah,
guarantee
we
it'll be
can't
a fish.
guarantee. Exactly. Oh yeah, it is the register to the far left. Go through the
Yeah.
purple awnings if you listen to our episode all about
Yeah.
that section of the park.
There you go.
Yeah. So yeah. Again, it's just a fun little prize. Didn't cost anything to play, which
No.
is always a surprise to get a physical item for no extra money, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was
Yeah,
sweet.
you just create a free account on the backlot.club website. Um, Also, we picked up something else at that register. Kevin, what did we pick up?
Well, back in September of last year, they started the pre-sale for the FanFest nights. So if you got tickets during the pre-sale period, which actually ran from I think it was September 26th through January 14th, which was a big window. So if you picked them up during that time period, you've got a free medallion to pick up, and it's actually a pretty cool little coin, and it comes in a nice little plastic case. So again, we both got the pre-sale tickets. We got two medallions. So that's the front and the back on the screen, where one side says Universal Fan Fest Nights 2026. The other one says really go there. And it has the entrance for the park and then the coordinates for the park, which is on the sleeve of the shirts they're selling to you. It's kind of what they're doing this year for it. It's the
Yeah.
GPS coordinates or the longitude, latitude, whatever you
Yeah.
want to call that. Yeah.
Yeah. Really cool. Totally was not expecting the medallion. Totally forgot about it. And so when we went to go get the fish, there that's when it was like, oh hey, yeah, the medallions. So that's really cool. They're really cool medallions.
Yeah. Like, I mean, thinking about it, like, because they recently like informed everybody that I don't know if they've been selling the tickets for this event as much as they were hoping they would,
Hmm.
but if you have a platinum pass like we do, that's the highest tier pass for Universal Studios Hollywood, you can actually get FanFest night tickets for half off. If you get them in the park, you can't buy them online. So it makes it where it's a $40 ticket instead of an $80 ticket for general admission. And so if we had just held off, we probably could have got like, our two tickets for $40 each instead of $80 each. They probably kind of got these medallions on eBay for less than $40, I assume. I was just checking before we started recording and there weren't any available yet. So we're not planning to throw ours on
No,
there. We're keeping ours. But
absolutely.
yeah. So yeah. So if you missed
Well,
out, that is an option, maybe.
right. Well, I really hope that if you are in the Universal Hollywood area and you are able to go to FanFest nights, go. There are multiple ways to do it. There's still plenty of tickets available. We one thing I will say that we saw when we were in line for the Harry Potter experience, it was late. It was really late. It was like almost midnight, if not a little after midnight. And there were littles that were barely hanging on. They were so tired. You guys, there is a pass that allows you to go multiple nights. Do that. Where you're only there for a couple of hours and you can go home and get to bed at a reasonable hour. Don't push yourself or your littles to stay until 1:30 in the morning. That's so hard. And so our hearts went out to we're like, oh, they are not going to make it through this line. So if that is a situation you are in, definitely check out all of the different ticket options that are available. The event is going on for a few more weeks. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and for the next three weeks until
Yeah, I
mid
think
May.
so.
Um,
Yeah.
so still plenty of time to go and check it out because it was a ton of fun. We were even considering going back another night. And just to check it out, even though we did experience everything,
Yeah.
just to check it out again and maybe see what things we might have missed because that's what we do. So,
It's true.
anything else before we wrap up?
I think that's everything that we've set out to say. So yeah, so definitely if you're gonna go there, have a great time. Let us know how it goes. Let us know if we helped you at all. I don't think we spoiled too much, honestly. Um, Again, I do want to go back to see what the next mystery is gonna be for the Scooby-Doo mystery.
Yeah,
So so we'll see. I love that they're running that deal for the Platinum Pass holders too. So
yeah, absolutely. And there's still more foods to try and all that. So definitely check out all of that. Let us know. You can message us at We're in the Park on any social platform we are on: Instagram, Facebook, uh, YouTube, and comment on this video, TikTok, all the things. And let us know if you have gone to FanFest, what your experience was like. If there's anything that you tried that we haven't tried that you think we should try, and all of that. Just let's have a conversation about it. And until then, we'll see you somewhere in the park. Bye for now.